And we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh,
I see we have a lot of folks in the chat already. Hello to Carla, Hazel, Tamika, Dolores, and Michelle. Hello, you all are here bright and early. We're so excited that you're here with us. Tonight, we have a wonderful show planned for you. And this evening, we are certainly welcoming you to Life of a Home Cook. And tonight, we're officially welcoming you to someone new, something new, and very intentional, the modern home economist.
hmm
So, Miss Denise, how are you?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. And Leona, I am so excited to bring in this new season of what we are planning. So whereas we've kind of been giving them a little bit of um, a pre-screening or a peek at what we're going to be officially launching in January. But
Mhm.
it's like we've been doing this all along now. We're just giving a name to it.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it.
hmm
Running a home and is certainly can be a challenge,
Yes.
especially in today's world because women and men, their lives are so busy, and then
Mhm.
when you add children to it, it just really um, changes the whole perspective of what they're doing. So, for generations, to be honest with you, we talked a little bit about home economics and.
Mhm.
Um, it was far more than just cooking and cleaning, and especially in the past. And it was more about understanding how a home actually functions
Right.
and how our decisions connect, how our systems support one another, and just how everyday choices build that long term stability. We want that stability. So, Ms. Janice, tell them a little bit about those four foundational pillars that we're going to be looking at.
Well, one of the things that we know, because we've got quite a few years in making and managing a home, is
Mhm.
that everything in the home is pretty much interrelated. And when we look at the four basic pillars or the four basic areas where a home tends to run, they tend to revolve around food, around like cleaning and managing the home itself. It revolves around money, and it revolves around time. And so when you think about it, when you look at food, we're buying groceries, which brings in money. We're shopping for groceries. And today, if you don't have time, you can order groceries or have them delivered.
Mhm.
Or if you're like I noticed with my son's family and so many families today, you're out late with after school activities, so you
Mhm.
have to stop and get takeout or pick up something on your way home.
Mhm.
So there's just so much that's involved. And I know one of the things you're going to talk about as we move through this new season is that for those really busy families, and I've really got a more in-depth look at what the busy families look like today, because they don't look like the families of when we were raising kids. When I was a young mom, and yes, I was a young mom at one time. But when I was a young mom, I was home by 4 o'clock or 4:30. If I was working
Mhm.
day shift, now if I was working evening or night shift, that was a different story. But still, typically I was home by 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
Hubby was home by 4:30, 6 o'clock, depending upon what season it was. If the kids had any activities after school, they caught the activity bus. They were home by 5. I could have dinner on the table by 5:30.
Mhm.
Today, in so many states and so many places, there is no activity bus. So if the parents can't,
Good.
have to come and pick them up. And then you're driving, and like my son, he drives an hour to get to the kids' school and then to get the kids home. So if he gets off work and his work is an hour away, it might be another hour from work to get to the kids' school. So by the
Mm.
time they get home, it can be 7 o'clock. So either he didn't plan something the day before or they're getting takeout. So
Yeah.
it's really a big difference in that regard. And then when it comes to home systems, those systems where you are the routines involved in keeping your house clean, and cozy and that kind of thing. And we've been talking a lot about routines, Leona, but you mentioned the other day we're going to change that topic from routines into systems, because a system is a series of routines that you
Mhm.
use to manage your home. And for me, for example, with laundry, I do a load of laundry every day. On Monday, I strip the bed and I wash those sheets, throw them in the dryer. When I get them out, I put those back on the bed so I don't have to fold them up. That's
Mhm.
my system to save time.
Mhm.
When my husband was still working as an usher, had to wear white shirts every day or 3 4 days a week when he worked. I did white shirts on Monday. So you
Ah,
have a system as to how I did things, or a series of routines. And then
mhm.
you've been talking lately about um, Act Two with some of the meals you've been making, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. So these systems are not separate, as you mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
They do overlap, they spill into every area of the home. And it's just something that we really want to touch on this upcoming season, starting today.
That's right.
We
That's
did start a little bit last week. I don't know if we.
right. We did. But we didn't make it official.
Yes.
But
Yes.
another thing is that in talking about food, we think of course going into the kitchen, that it's just about going in there and just preparing a meal. But
Mhm.
when food isn't planned, when you don't have a plan, then a lot of time is wasted,
Mhm.
because time is wasted, money is wasted. And for me, time and money, that's pretty important.
Right.
We pay for that. We pay for
Mhm.
people's time and with money. And so we don't want to waste food. We want to make sure that what we're preparing is is valuable, and that it's something that our family loves.
Mhm.
And so these home systems can be chaotic when they're not well planned. We can
Yes.
end up with a lot of energy drain that we really don't have to have. And
Mhm.
so when your money gets tight, or as they used to say, when your money gets funny, yeah,
Yes.
every other decision is affected and it feels
Oh, yeah.
heavier. So, our goal is not to overwhelm ourselves and overwhelm our family, because initially, when we get overwhelmed, as I always say, especially as a wife, of course, we have our husband and he's the head of the home. But when we're overwhelmed, it affects everybody.
Mhm. If
And
mommy ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
you got it. You got it. So it's up to us to make sure that we connect those dots and make sure that they're right. So tonight's conversation is going to be so important. We are welcoming a young homemaker. It's one thing to hear all this from us,
Mhm.
but it's another thing to hear it from someone who is living the life right now. So I'm going to bring to our stage tomorrow, and we're going to call her TJ. We're going to cut it short, and she's good with that. And we are so excited to have you here. And those of you who are in the chat, you have seen her as Duncan Party of Six.
Yes.
So um, Denise, you want to welcome
Well, I
TJ?
want to say welcome, TJ. Welcome, Tam. I've always called you Tam because that's what I saw your name. But welcome to our platform. And I'm just so excited that I get to actually meet you face to face, so to speak. And as you mentioned earlier, Miss Fiona, we've always known you as Duncan Party of Six. So now we can actually put a name to that face. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about that. And one of the things that we're going to talk about, well, let me let you, because Leona, you know how I can be. So I'll get to going. You'll say, Denise, because I'll be,
So,
but go ahead
guys,
and talk.
it's so funny. I told TJ yesterday, I said, girl, just be comfortable, because that's what we do. It's like it's girl talk and it's girl time. And so, we want to be able to talk about life as a young homemaker.
Mhm.
And at this point to all of you who are in the chat. We're going to kind of focus here now. It's not to say we'll come back to you because we know you're there, and we certainly appreciate everyone who is in the chat. But we want to get started.
Yes.
So, TJ,
Yes,
how are you?
I'm doing well. And I want to say hello, everyone. And I want to definitely thank Miss Leona and Miss Denise for giving me this opportunity. Only because I never imagined I would talk to you guys, face to face, so to speak. And so this is surreal. And so I'm grateful just to be that you're willing to share your platform with me. And so I'm looking forward to this. A little nervous, but it's okay. I'm gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Now, we started out just now. Of course, we've had the pleasure of talking with TJ through YouTube and the comments and emails and those kind of things. We've had a chance, and we really feel like she's kind of our daughter. We've kind of taken her under the wing, so to speak. But TJ, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your story?
Sure. I'm a small town girl here from South Carolina, Honeypad, South Carolina, to be exact. I'm the only child. I was the only grand on my grandmother's side. And if you knew me, you knew Granny. She was a pillar in my life. And I was raised with her and my aunt because my mom, pretty much worked most of the time. So it was instilled in me of being a good person is first, right? Being sweet is what my granny would say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's small town girl. Went through high school in a small town. I graduated from USC, go Gamecocks.
Right.
I met my husband years later. He was stationed here at Fort Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took me to a very cold place. I had never left home before then, Fort Drum, New York. Mm-hmm. And by that time, we had our daughter, Jordan, who's now 14, and I was pregnant with my son. And I was fortunate enough and blessed enough that my mom was willing to go with us because I was the only child, so I didn't have to share. And I was taking the only grandchildren with me. And so she went and she stayed with us for a year. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I still had my safety blanket. I still had my safety net. And about a year after that, she had to come home and take care of my granny because she beat breast cancer at that time. Mm-hmm. And that was really the first time I was like, okay, I'm going to put my big girl pants on because at that time, my husband was then being deployed to Afghanistan. So, okay. So I had two small children at the time. And initially I was like, I'm going home. I'm not staying here. It's cold. It's, and, truth be told, the Holy Spirit's like, no, stay. You can handle this. And I did. And so I think that was the beginning of me knowing that, I can do it. I can do it. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that I could do it. And so fast forward, we were able to come back home, which never happens in the military. Mm-hmm. But my husband said, okay, we can go to Germany or South Carolina. I was like, don't play with me. I want to go home. And we were able to come home, and I was blessed to have my granny for a few more years. Mm-hmm. So I used to call her, hey, Granny, how do I do this? How do I do that? And so fast forward a few more years, my husband's ready to retire. He was like, I think I want one more. I was like, absolutely not. Right. At the time we had a boy and girl, so best of both worlds. I had my career. I was a licensed physical therapist assistant. He's still, coming down out of the military, but still very busy. So I felt I was a single married mom. So, for those years, but he felt that he had missed so much. Mm-hmm. And I denied and I ran and I avoided that topic for the longest. And then I was like, well, Jacob at the time was 5, turning 6. I was like, well, he's not a baby anymore. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, I'll give in. And he wanted a junior. I was like, we should have named Jacob John. I don't understand. But I gave in, and God gave me 2. buy one get one, and at that time I just didn't know. Like I just didn't know. And in the same time, now we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Mhm.
So our worlds were just it was so uncertain, but not just for our home, just for the
Mhm.
and so um I just did I had to we had to pivot. And
Mhm.
so during COVID, a lot of the physical therapy aspect of just surgeries was
Mhm.
dwindling. And and so by that summer, before everything really just took bloom, I was ready to go. I was over those masks. I was over those gowns. I was over all of
Mhm.
it. I was worried about bringing things home to my family.
Mhm.
So when they could not support all of the therapists, it's like, hey,
Mhm.
I will go. I will go.
Mhm.
And so never once before that had I saw myself as a stay-at-home mom, a mother of four. You know,
Mhm.
I was raised to be, of course, independent, have your own, do your own, do
Mhm.
yourself, and I worked hard, 2 degrees, but now I'm here. I'm like, now I have 4 kids. And not only 4 kids, but now, I'm noticing I don't want my babies to go back to school in this pandemic. And I'm noticing that their education is not up to par to where I want it to be. And so we start looking at that as well. And so then homeschooling came. So it was just, I don't, if anybody had a polled and asked me this as a young sophomore in college, and I put money on it, I would have lost all of my money because you could not have told me this is how, life would have. And once I got into it, I realized like, I like this.
Mhm.
Some of the conversations that I would have with my friend and who was a therapist as well, and I always felt my patients got better, the best of me, and my family got
Mhm.
leftovers because we work Monday through Friday, and when you have patients, and I worked with the geriatric population, and so I poured so much into them to get them home, rehabbed and home. By the time
Mhm.
I got home, it was leftovers, and now I got to make sure you're doing your homework. You got to get back. It was such a rat race. So we were living. We were not thriving, so to speak.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
COVID made us stop and slow down. We really looked at everything, and we had to readjust, and we had to pivot. And I realized like my true ministry is home. You know,
Mhm.
so being home, I enjoyed it, but I felt guilty for being home.
Mhm.
Oh.
I need that. Um, it wasn't until my mother-in-law told me, she said, "Listen, you won't have your kids until for 18 years. You can have your degree, you can have your career, you can always go back."
Mhm.
Freed me from that. You see, because I felt like I had put so much time, I had put all, and so was I willing to take a back seat? And so I had to realize that some of that was just pride. It was some of it was pride, and some of it was, I can go back, but I will only have my babies for 18 summers. And
Mhm.
so once I heard that from someone that I respected, it almost kind of lifted that, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after that, I was all in, and I researched and I watched women like you, and if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it well or do it my best.
Let
Mhm.
me interrupt you for a second, TJ. So, as I listened to you talk, one of the things you said was you felt guilty about being
Mhm.
home. Now,
Mhm.
why did you feel guilty about being home? Did you, well, I won't put words in your mouth. So, why did you feel guilty about being home?
Well, some of the guilt was, I think initially, especially as a military wife,
Mhm.
that worked. Sometimes I assumed that military wives that didn't work were just they were lazy
Mhm.
or they didn't do anything, right? And
Mhm.
and Lord forgive me for that judgment because I learned, oh no, you are busy all day. But then I also would feel guilty to allow myself to rest. I know how my day would go, but when my husband came home, I didn't want him to assume that I was just sitting around, you
Mhm.
know. And then
Mhm.
the guilt came from also is knowing that I worked so hard for what I wanted to achieve and I accomplished those things. And
Mhm.
am I now going to put that on the shelf,
Mhm.
um, lose my independence, so to speak, or
Mhm.
lose my identity um,
Mhm. Mhm.
in this of being a wife and a mother? And I had to learn that my identity was God's daughter. My
Mhm.
role is just John's wife and the mother of four. And once I learned that, um, I was okay. But it took some time, it took some
Mhm.
time, truth be
Yeah.
told. And I didn't want to appear like I had to depend on my husband, because that's part of that independence. Have your own, so you never know. So many societal things, so many things that I was taught, you know.
Mhm.
So a lot of that I just had to work through.
Yes.
Hmm.
You're absolutely right. And I think,
Watch.
yeah. And a lot of us have gone through that because I know my mom was real big into be independent, have your own. And her thing was, so if he messes up, you can take care of yourself. That was her thing.
You see that head roll?
That's right.
That's right. And so, you have certainly hit quite a few notes in what you've said, because very often, I think a lot of career moms hesitate to think about even coming home, because you do get caught up into, this is who I am. I'm Mrs. So and so at the office, and I'm doing this, and you kind of gain a certain prestige when you're
Status.
over there. And unfortunately, the stay-at-home mom hasn't been the big name,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I guess that's another thing that goes back to the home economics,
Mhm.
because when you looked at it in the past, and the fact that the effort was to train women to become, really in the past, train women to become housewives,
Mhm.
and the focus was on the male. But
Mhm.
it's nice to see that young women are coming home and saying, yes, I have the degrees, I got the so and so, but you're using your degrees with your family,
Right.
and being able to educate your children, give them the best. And certainly, I'm sure that is not an easy thing. So, what does a normal day look like for you?
Oh gosh. So I learned at very quickly 4:30 or 5 in order for me to just have quiet time. So I
Mhm.
get up around 4:30. Sometimes I snooze, but I get up even before my husband. I try to get up. I put my load of laundry in, and I then make a tea, and I say my prayers, and I read my word.
Mhm.
And it grounds me. It starts me on my day. I Once we get to some systems, one of my systems sometimes is I go ahead and prep the breakfast and start it,
Mhm.
get that done. Um, because my 4-year-old son, before he hits the floor, he's asking what's for breakfast. So I learned to alleviate that stress by either having it already ready for him,
Mhm.
he was warming up, or know what I'm going to make. And so then around by the time my husband gets up, we go and we work out.
Mhm.
And so when we get back, the house is awake now. And so
Mhm.
I've already had their breakfast. I get them set up, at least the twins I do. And then that'll buy me time to at least go shower. So I get another hour before I have to put my mommy hat on. And
Mhm.
I learned that sometimes, even if they come downstairs early, I'm not on duty yet, so that's another thing that I had to lose that guilt and say, like, you really don't see me. I know you do see me, but you don't see me. Just give me a second. I'll go back upstairs.
Mhm.
Then around 9:30, that's when we start school.
Mhm.
I try my best to wrap that up by 2.
Mhm.
After that, I kind of built me another break in there. So by 3:30, I'm cooking. Only because on 4 days out of the week, my 14-year-old has competitive dance practice, and then our 12-year-old son has basketball practice. And so I like to have them at least have the opportunity to eat if they want to in time, so their food has time to digest and they're not eating too late, because sometimes we don't get home till 9. So juggle a little bit. Fortunately, my husband is available in the evening, so we can tag it, because sometimes we have basketball and dance on the same day. So it can be chaotic. And so usually by that time, like I try to get the babies to bed no later than 7:45.
And how old are they?
They're 4.
Can I give you a boom?
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am so excited when she said between 7:30 and 7:45. Yay. Because I know of so many moms who have little ones at 4 and younger who are still running around at 9 o'clock at night.
Or 11 o'clock at night.
Yes.
They let the kids stay up till they're ready to go to bed. And I tell you, when my kids were younger, I didn't want to see kids after 9 o'clock. I just didn't want to see any kids after 9.
I feel that way about my bigs too. And
I don't want to see them after 8 o'clock.
No.
You know, it's like they need to go to bed.
That's right.
And
so
be asleep.
they have bedtime. So they my oldest, she doesn't go to 9:30, but by 9, I don't want to see them after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, even if they're in their room reading, quietly listening to music. I mean, we're talking about the older ones. You know, quietly doing whatever they're doing quietly. And the littles, you know, in bed by 7:30, 7:45, you know, you can play soft music, read them their stories, and then give them their kisses, say their prayers. You can leave on a little music, whatever, but they need to be in bed by 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And they need their rest. Yeah.
Now, and you need your rest.
Yes.
True. True. Because you've had a full day.
I look forward to that time.
When you think about meals and thinking about the food system, you know, of course, we're dealing with the planning, the preparation, you know, and any strategies that you may have. Which of the meals is probably your hardest to be consistent with?
Oh gosh, probably lunch. Only because they're here, so I have to, you know, I won't say creative, but 3 meals a day every day. You know, I don't have that reprieve with them going to school. I think it's lunch, because it's easier to meal plan dinners. I have better ideas. And not feeding them sandwiches all day, but also keeping me out of the kitchen all day. I think lunch is probably my hardest.
I would say so. So you do meal plan?
Oh yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. Every month I typically write about 15 meals, 20 meals.
One plan, one shop.
That's right. That's right.
Well, yes, ma'am. And so and typically I actually have like theme days. So Mondays, typically, because we have co-op on Mondays, that's my crock pot day. If we have leftovers from Sunday, I'll put something in the crock pot, and so then it's already ready. Taco Tuesday, shout out to Miss Denise, and Wednesday it's kind of free for all. Thursday is some type of seafood, and then pizza on Fridays. And so with me knowing that, it's easy for me to kind of plug and play. And then with me, I minimum to no meat, so that probably makes it a little harder. But I just the main thing, and then I just have something on the side that goes with everything else. But
the minimum to no meat. Now that's for you, or is that for the family as a whole?
That's for me.
Oh, for you.
That's me.
Yeah. Now, you know, we have been talking about it, encouraging a lot of our young homemakers to have several meals that they can cook without even thinking. You know, they just know I'm a fix so-and-so. They don't need a recipe. They can just start cooking. What are some of yours?
Oh, tacos, spaghetti, shrimp scampi. That's one of the fan favorites. Let's see. And I enjoy to cook. So a chili, chicken Alfredo. You know, we do the little fire pizza. So we have like a little small brick iron oven pizza. So we'll do those on Fridays sometimes. That those are my quick tried and trues.
Mm-hmm.
I know everybody will eat it. That's not or somebody's picky and we have leftovers or somebody throwing something away.
Mm-hmm.
Those definitely are mine. Anything with a pasta noodle
Mm-hmm.
to go.
Well, now, do you ever do freezer meals?
No, ma'am. If I do freeze something, it's probably my meal. So if since I'm the only one that eats it, um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll do half, for the dinner, and then I'll freeze it. So then I'll have it readily available for me the next time. So that's really most of the time. These kids are so greedy. We don't really have leftovers to freeze. And so as far as freezer meals, no, ma'am, I don't really. The more of the freezer, I think is when I cook and I have too much, and then I'll go ahead and freeze it so I don't waste it for
Right.
myself. But as far as for the family, no, ma'am.
Well, I can see that because you have 4 children,
Mm-hmm.
and those 2 teenagers, or one might be a tween, I think 12 and 14. But for
Mm-hmm.
those 2 older ones, they eat a bit more.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so most meals that we prepare serve 6 or 8, and you've already got 6 right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to prepare lunches. And so if you plan those meals that you have for dinner, and then either tomorrow we're going to have this for lunch, or if today is Monday and we had like roast chicken, and so we're going to have this chicken left over for lunch on Tuesday, or maybe you're going to have the chicken left over for lunch on another day, I
Mm-hmm.
can see where you wouldn't have much left over.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that a friend of mine and her daughters used to do was on the weekend, they would prepare casseroles and different meals for the week. They would just spend a whole day the, in the kitchen preparing food for the week and putting them in the freezer. So when they came home, they could just pull something out, thaw it out, and cook it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for you, you're going to have to think about something like that, actually planning ahead and prepping, say
Mm-hmm.
cooking twice, like cooking enough, a double batch so that you have something to put in the freezer. Because
Mm-hmm.
for you need whatever's left over from Sunday or Monday for lunches on another
For
day.
lunches. Yeah. Even if you have to, as we call it, remix it.
Mhm.
And so it looks a little different. They won't say, "Oh, we having this again," but you can remix it so it doesn't look like whatever it did. But the advantage too of since you are planning is that you can certainly take a day or a few hours, maybe a couple hours on a Saturday or a Sunday
Mhm.
afternoon, maybe, and just do as much prep work. Look at particularly your crock pot meals, know what they're
Mhm.
going to be. And you can prep those, have those in their bags, ready to go in the freezer. So all you have to do is just take them out, pop them into the crock pot, and it's ready to go. And so that, you think, well, that may not save me a lot of time, but it really does. It really does. I mean,
Yes.
even with just the two of us, that saves a lot of time. Plus, everybody laughs because I cook. It's just two of us here, but I cook enough for probably 8. So
Mhm.
that way I can divide whatever it is into multiple meals. And so I can go to the freezer in a minute and pull out a meal that I can take out and either throw it in the crock pot or take it and maybe something that's already cooked that I just need to put into the microwave, and microwave it or throw it into the oven if it's a casserole. Because I typically, when I'm especially preparing casseroles,
Mhm.
you do two.
Yeah.
I always do two,
Exactly.
you
Well,
know.
I hadn't thought about using the crock pot for that reason, Leona. I have, because like I was telling you, when I made the turkey tetrazzini for after
Mhm,
Thanksgiving, I had like 2 dishes of turkey tetrazzini to put in the freezer
mhm,
because that dish made like 8, and there's just 2 of us here.
mhm,
But it was so nice when we came home late from an appointment or wherever, and he was like, "I don't want to stop to buy anything." I said, "Well, I got something in the freezer I can pull out," and I was able to take a casserole dish, a covered one of those little snap locks that you like,
mhm, mhm,
the freezer, and then put it in the microwave for a second just to kind of take some of the chill off
mhm,
of it, and then set it in the oven and just let it warm up. I hadn't thought about putting those in the crock pot. That would be a good way to warm them up. But
Mhm.
and then a couple of weeks ago, I made a killer pulled pork taco soup.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. But this made a pot of like 8, I don't know, maybe even 10. So immediately I put two freezer dishes, uh,
Mhm.
filled 2 freezer dishes that hold 4 cups each in the
Mhm.
freezer. And so the next week for Taco Tuesday, I could pull one of those out. And if I felt like, well, I want to add a little bit to it, when you're making taco soup, you can always add another can of corn or beans or whatever to make a little bit more. But it was so nice to be able to pull those out. So when we look at those, you were talking about the systems earlier. Tam, I love your system of
Mhm.
theming your meals,
Mhm.
not just making dinner for the night, but you have a system where you have certain themes for the week, crock
Yes.
pot night. I love your Friday night pizza where you make pizzas with that particular pizza oven, you said,
Pizza
because a lot
oven.
of us
Mhm.
order Pizza Hut on
Yeah.
Friday night,
Mhm.
but you
Yeah.
can really save a lot of money. So you're attacking two pillars right there:
Mhm.
finances, time, and food.
And food. That's all three. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
that's 3 of them.
So you are really managing. Um, Now, when it's very obvious that you have some good teamwork going on, and uh, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm training him too, but
I love that. I love that. I
I'm
love
training.
it.
It's
It's
a
a
process.
process. Yeah.
It's a
I
process.
can't say that I don't pick up his socks and shoes too, but um,
Tam, mine is 76 now. He's finally got it.
oh Lord, oh, Lord. I
But
don't
it took
He's like, I don't want to have to wait that
years.
long.
tell me
What you
that.
say, Leona?
I said
Oh,
it took 49. But yeah.
so okay, well at least I know it's not just mine.
Mhm.
But no, I think it definitely was. It's still it still is a process, um,
Process.
because we have two different mental loads,
Mhm.
right? Is
I
is
like that. Two
Mhm.
different mental loads. Oh, I'm gonna write that down.
um where he is his load is outside providing and protecting.
Mhm.
Mine is if he's the CEO, I'm the COO, so I have
Mhm.
to manage everything else. But I
Mhm.
don't, I think again with the whole, it goes back to the societal thing where my mental load may not be. Um, I don't think they really know. I don't think you really know. And when you guys we were going over some of the questions and he was like, golly, man, you do all that? I'm like, yes. Like, these are things like I have to think about know where your wallet, your keys are, what your schedule is, and I have to, think about Jordan in high school and the babies and the meals and so I think he's getting it. He's understanding. And if I can say this, he's the first one to say, "Babe, just sit down." That's why we have these kids. Let them do it. Or um, and for a long time, he was like, "Hey, let's get somebody in here to help clean."
I'm
Mhm.
for it.
No way. Like this is
I'm
my
for it.
right. This is my house. I can do it. I don't want. But when I got pregnant with those twins, I got over that. And I said, like we can rethink this. You were right. You were right. Let's reconsider. And so now I do have someone to come in and they clean twice a month.
Mhm.
So that helps. Um,
Mhm.
so he supports definitely in the ways that doesn't require work from him now. Don't.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or if he sees that I've cleaned, like, hey, you guys, your mom is clean, come out of there. But so,
Mhm.
but again, it's I think I had to learn that I had to know what I wanted in order to be able to communicate to him, and that wasn't always something that I did well, and
Mhm.
expect
Mhm.
like, can't you
Ooh.
just see me?
He just keeps dropping off these
you know,
gems.
and then he come in and put a fork or a dish. I mean, that'll just set. And so I have to understand. He can't support me if I don't communicate. Right.
That's
I
true.
can't communicate if I can't pinpoint what it is that I need. And sometimes I don't know. I just know that this is not it, And
Right.
so it's growth, and we're definitely getting better with that. Um,
Mhm.
and babe, I know, I'm getting my clothes. And so oh, definitely, he's definitely better at getting after the kids for picking up their things,
Mhm.
and just honoring me and saying like, hey, your mom works hard,
Mhm.
appreciate her. So he definitely supports me in those things and
Mhm.
making me feel like I'm appreciated, and providing the help to give
Mhm.
me those days off. But again, that was that ego. Like I could do it. Like, this is my house. And
Mhm.
Well,
I
let me just, can I jump in here, Leona? There's a couple
Yes,
things.
ma'am.
So one of the things that so many women will say is, I don't need any help. It is
Mhm.
my house. I can do it myself.
Mhm.
However, he said, well, let's get some help.
Mhm.
Men will get help in a minute for things they need. It is we as women that feel like we have to have a big S on our chest and be superwoman and do it all.
Mhm.
There is no shame to having help. Because trust me, if I could have had help when I was younger, I would have had some,
Mhm.
because we need all of, there is just so much. And my husband will say, well, babe, like you said, yours said, he said, just sit down, you're tired. I'm like, well, I got this. And he said, well, you always have something else. I said, well, there's always something else to
Do to
do.
do. That's right. That's right. And even now that it's even just the two of us. Now, of course, it's not as intense as it was when the kids were here, but it took a while, and I can say it took quite a while for him to really realize that. And I realize now it was my fault. I, like you, I didn't communicate. I was just trying to get it done, felt like I was the best one to do it. Now, I did call in some help, as
Mhm.
far as, because I was exhausted. And
Yes.
and that's what it takes. But guys will get help in a minute. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right, for whatever it is that they need. And my daughter adopted a saying of saying, call the man.
Mhm.
If it's something that need, call the man, because you don't
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think young women are learning a lot earlier that you call for help. You
Mhm.
know.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
I think that we are socialized when we're younger that this is our role. We're supposed to do
Mhm.
all of this. And so we don't ask for help because we feel like we need to be able to do this. And many of us watched our mothers manage all of these things. I remember one of my clients used to say, well, I would see my grandmother do all these things, and she was always tired and stressed out. And
Mhm.
her guy would say, you know what? These women today ain't made like they used to be made. And she said,
Mhm.
yeah, because them women in those days was tired and stressed out and worn out. She says, I don't want to
Mhm.
be like that.
Mhm.
And I agree. And so we have to learn to communicate what we need. Because my husband would tell me in a minute, he said, babe, I used to be able to read your mind, but I can't read it anymore. He says, you gotta let me know.
Uh-huh.
So I think that when you said communicate well, and you said you had to learn to
Mhm.
communicate, where does that pillar fit, Leona?
Well, communication really has to go. It's one of those really that overlaps
Mm-hmm,
all of them.
mm-hmm,
And it doesn't technically, I guess it's time,
oh,
because
mm-hmm,
it would have to be time, because when you communicate, then you really do. It seems like it improves your
mm-hmm,
system and your time system,
mm-hmm.
because then they're stepping up, the kids are stepping up, everybody's stepping up, and you're throwing in together. And
Yeah.
so, and that helps. That
Mm-hmm.
helps you. And then you have to be willing, as you said, to be able to, okay, well, let me sit down. See, that was my problem. I couldn't sit down. Even
It's,
if I told the kids to do something, I couldn't sit down. I'd find something else to do.
yeah.
So, and that's a challenge. So we have to kind of unlearn some of the things that,
Yeah.
got into. Um, when we're thinking about the home systems, thinking about, our cleaning rhythms, our schedules, trying to reset. Now, when you're grocery shopping, do you actually go to the grocery or do you order? What do you do?
I order now. I
Mhm.
order now. And it really it
Well,
was
why do you order now?
because I don't want to take all those kids with me in the grocery store.
Well, other than that, does it save you any time or anything?
It saves me time. It does.
Mhm.
It's very
Mhm.
convenient. So now sometimes I get frustrated because the vegetables don't. It's not what I would pick.
Mhm.
The trade off, it saves me money.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm not in there buying extra. And it saves me time because even, for example, we were in Savannah this weekend for my son's basketball game. And so by the time we got home, I had the groceries on the step. You know,
Uh-huh.
so I was able to kill two birds with one stone, And so I think I adopted that more so, especially during COVID. But then once the babies were, as tall as I just could not imagine. Um,
I can't imagine taking 4 children into the grocery store.
Oh
and
God.
I have, but it's just not the most ideal thing. And now that with them being 4,
Mhm.
um, they listen better,
Mhm.
and I can have that conversation. Look, we're not getting anything. Don't ask for anything. Don't touch anything. Now that doesn't always work. The 4-year-old, I'm training them,
Yeah.
and they do behave very well, but it's just a lot. And
Yeah.
so if I can just take that off my plate, I generally do. And that's what when I do my meal plan, I have my list. I just, order it from DoorDash and or Instacart and then voila, So that saves me about an hour or two.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. I tell you what, ordering is the best thing since sweet tea.
Yeah.
And you're right about, sometimes you may not get things as perfect as you'd like it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have found is that several of the stores will allow you to talk to the person who's picking your items, who's shopping your items, and you can. They'll send you a link to say, I'm so and so, and I'm shopping for such and such. And if you have any questions, then let them know. And so I have actually said to them, listen, when you pick out such and such, I want this,
Right.
or please make sure that you do such and such.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly because I hate getting lettuce and it looks like it's been beat up. And I'm thinking, you had to see that. Why would you think I'd want that?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but that's something that I hadn't really taken advantage of until probably the past 4 months. I'll say 4 months
Wow.
of being able to really have a conversation,
Mhm.
and with the person who is handling the groceries.
Right.
So, and that's nice. That's nice because I think the Door Dasher, you can talk to them.
You can chat with them.
Yeah, yeah, and so that's nice of being able to do that. And we're in a new world. Technology is great,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and certainly saves time and saves money in the
Mhm.
long run. Now, when you're doing your grocery list, what's kind of do you look at what you're going to cook for the week, put everything down on your grocery list, and then shop your pantries? And eliminate those things that you don't necessarily need? Or do you just think to yourself, well, I think I have this and I think I have this? What do you do?
That's a work in progress. I do a little bit of both. It depends on where I am when I'm doing my list.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was doing our list for this week, I was in the car, so I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna guess. And so I am getting. I have a bad habit of just getting, and then they're like, oh man, I already had this. And so I typically, I don't know if you guys know about the app Plan to Eat. And so it's a app where you can save recipes, and then it gives you calendars where you can put in your plan, whatever recipe you want for that week or that day, and then it'll give you a grocery list. And
Oh,
so
and it's called Plan to Eat.
Plan to Eat, yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so with that, it kind of it's like a one-stop shop. Now I'm a writer, so I write everything down too. So I know
Mhm.
my. But then if there's recipes that I've saved in that app, I can put it in my calendar, and so then I have on my phone. It gives me that grocery list. So if I know
Ah,
offhand that I have things, I could just check it off. But I'm not consistent enough, like I should be, to check everything first before I go get it. That is one thing that I definitely need to get better at.
mhm,
Okay. I think that's good that you are aware that
Mhm.
you have a particular area that you still need growth in and that you're working
mhm,
at it. Because, homemaking is about making progress,
Mhm.
not being perfect. These are not Instagram or Pinterest moments. This is real life.
mhm,
So you just have to figure it out for your family. One of
mhm,
the things that I always say is that everybody helps with the after dinner cleanup. And I learned that from
mhm,
Flight Cat. Before I would just get in the kitchen and start doing stuff, even with just him and I. Or sometimes he would say, well, babe, I'll get the dishes since you cooked. And I'll still come in and like maybe I'll put the food away while he's washing the dishes or whatever.
mhm,
But with your family of six,
Mhm.
everyone can help with the after dinner cleanup. Even the 4-year-olds can maybe
mhm,
plate over to the sink.
Mhm.
Maybe they can wipe at the table a little bit. Won't be perfect, but they
right.
do some things. But bring it over, or and the older ones can certainly like clean the table, wipe down the counter, even help with the
Mhm,
dishes, help load the dishwasher, that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
and even the hubby, I appreciate when you said we have two different mental loads, but
Mhm,
sometimes they don't mind helping if everybody's working together in
mhm,
that kitchen
mhm,
to clean things up. It's a time where you can all talk about your day or whatever too. So now some husbands won't.
Mhm.
Some go just sit there while everybody else does stuff, but he can sit there and talk.
Mhm.
right.
Want to participate, but
Yeah.
get it done pretty quickly.
Yeah, my bigs, you and I do. I clean as I go. So
Mhm,
typically, by the time it's time to clean up, they alternate days, so they know one has floors, one has counters, um,
mhm,
and then the littles know they bring their plate to the sink in their cup, and then
mhm,
put their mat, in the drawer, and so
mhm,
that, and then my son takes out the trash. So
mhm,
that is something. As a matter of fact, last night, my daughter was in the shower, my son was already in bed, and I went downstairs to make some tea, and I realized that their chores had not been done. So I naturally went and told them to go back downstairs because I did not want to then wake up this morning and that
mhm,
was waiting on me. So I was,
mhm,
I nicely told my daughter, as soon as you get out of the shower, please go downstairs and do.
mhm, mhm.
There, sometimes they need. Well, my daughter, she remembers way more than my son does. So, uh,
Selective memory.
right, so she remembers. And sometimes he has to go back and do it a couple times, but I make
Mhm,
sure he does it. And
right.
so that is really something they've been doing since they came home from COVID.
Mhm, mhm,
So I've been when they came home, they were third grade and first, and so
mhm,
I already started working with them with their laundry. Um,
mhm, mhm,
so that was something that I freed myself from, and
mhm,
as far as kitchen and things like that, that is something that's not all my job. So
mhm.
I'm trying to work myself out of some jobs, but I also need help with not supervising so much and redoing when it's not.
Yeah. Well,
Not
too, and I can say this because this is something I guess I kind of lived through. Um, my mom was kind of a perfectionist
mm,
in that whatever you did, it had to be perfect.
Mm.
And like if you vacuumed the carpets, the lines had to go a certain way. Back in those, I mean, she was technical. And so I promised myself that when my children got old enough, and my kids, one would vacuum, one dusted, and was it perfect? No, but
No.
they were learning. They were learning. I
mm,
did not go back and redo whatever it is that they did. And if it was something that, if I knew I had somebody coming over, then I might, when they're doing something else, touch up whatever it is
mm,
real quick. But because you don't want to discourage them,
mhm,
and you certainly want them to and I would always say, oh, Thank you so much. You have helped me so much.
Yes.
And they really thought they had done a lot. And I'm looking at it going, oh, well, they didn't hit that corner, didn't do the so and so. But
Right.
I never said anything, and I didn't bother it
Right.
because I wanted them to understand it was a process. It's a
Yeah.
learning process. And so with the grandkids, because my grandkids lived with us, three of them lived with us their first 2 years, and each of them. So even the baby girl, she would get on the stool and she was washing the dishes, and of course, there was as much water on her as there was on the dish, but that was okay because I knew I was going to eventually put it in the dishwasher anyway. But it began a process. And
Mhm.
it's so funny because now that they're teenagers, they just, when they come, they automatically
Mhm.
start washing the dishes, putting the things in the dishwasher, taking the trash out, doing the so and so. I have not said a word,
Mhm.
because they're at this point they're here visiting, and but they've been into that routine. So as long as it's pleasant, and even with hubby, I found with the big guy that when he would hear us in here, I mean, we'd be in here singing and dancing and doing whatever it was. It was a lot of fun. And next thing I know, he's in the kitchen. Did he ever come into the kitchen for that? No, not usually. But once it became fun, then it was like, okay. So then he'd start picking up and he would start working because it's like, well, everybody else is working. So I guess I'm supposed to do it too. And so, so sometimes it's a matter of trying to, like I said, it's about encouragement and it's about support.
Mhm.
And when you are looking at time, and certainly time, marriage, support, and you've definitely helped us with communication, help, and hopefully helped everybody with communication, because you're absolutely right. If we don't say anything, they don't know because they really can't read our minds.
No.
But when you really started to change and to pivot and to find your new self,
Mhm.
um, how did the support system go? Was he all in, or was he a little hesitant, or just how did it go?
I'm trying to think. Um, I think my husband is naturally a motivator.
Mhm.
So whatever interest I have, he's for it. I think as far as support, I don't know, because the pivot was such a, I wouldn't say jarring, but it wasn't a plan. So it's almost kind of like we evolved into it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we just kind of took it a step at a time, and so it was more of adaptation. And so I think as I grew, um, I mean, he just naturally, it's like, okay, I really, we just saw it as we got to do what we have to do. And I am definitely, I want to do it well.
Mhm.
Right,
And
right.
so I want to be a good wife. I want to be a good mother. And so with that, um, it's I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to grow. And I feel like, um, that he supports me just because, at the end of the day, he's my friend. And so we just naturally support each other. I think sometimes with some of the systems or something, he's kind of like, I don't know what you're doing. But what he kind of lets the house part. And so I really don't, yeah, and most of the time he's oblivious. He doesn't really know what, it's a lot of, especially during the day, it's just the kids and myself. And so a lot of the things that I have to put in place, and that I have to do from A to get us to A to B.
Mhm.
And sometimes, truth be told, I'll probably make it easy, not sounding, arrogant or anything. So they don't really know. like what it really took for us to look this way or get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as just supporting, I think it's more of an adaptation, and just because I want to do well,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to grow, and I want to do my best. And I feel like this is a no fail mission with that.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's just an automatic support almost, I think. And I do remember, it was kind of funny some years ago. He may not remember this. He may kill me for saying it. But when we were in Fort Drum, I really got back into my word.
Mm-hmm.
When we got back to South Carolina, I was studying, and even now I know, as I'm teaching my children about God, and I'm teaching them about just being good, or just being obedient, and being respectful and all those things. And I hear myself as I'm teaching them about God.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what God is teaching us, to be good kids, good children that belong, And so one time he said, well, I thought you was reading it to get strengthen yourself to lead me. I was like, no, like that's not, I'm reading this because if I become a better child of God, then I'm going to become a better wife, and I'm going to become a better mother. And so it wasn't that I was strengthening myself to leave or do anything, no, I wanted to get better, and I knew the source that was going to help me with that, So as far as support, he's pretty good with that.
That's good.
That is good. Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful. Now, before I know you've been with us quite a while, and we are going to go over to the chat in just a little while, but as we think about your journey, as you think about your journey, what are maybe 1, 2, 3 things that you would suggest to our young homemakers who are getting started? What are some of the things that you might suggest to them that would be helpful for them to get started?
One, self-care is okay.
Oh, good one.
You don't
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you're being selfish. And so I had to learn that I can't pour from an empty cup.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning from that, because I'll go and I'll go and I'll go and I'll go.
Mhm.
I'm not worth anything, And so I think that's the most important part. And making it doesn't have to be a once a week type of thing. Kind of build that into your daily routine to
Mhm.
build
Mhm.
30 minutes or an hour. And that's important just for the quietness, because
Mhm.
especially when you're home and you're with kids all day, you just want quiet.
Mhm.
And when your husband get home and he wants to talk, like, oh Lord, like I really don't want to talk. I just want quiet. Sometimes I'll have my AirPods in and there's nothing playing, but I just want the quiet. And so it's okay to say, like, no, give me a minute, or go sit down for 20 minutes, or and I think that's the biggest thing, and that's the hardest thing for me.
Mhm.
So self-care is not selfish. And so and the way you can help is making sure those kids go to bed.
Yeah, you're
So
right.
it's self-care, and giving yourself a couple of hours at the end of the night.
Mhm.
I also would say that even though we're in a modern time, so to speak, there is the value that a stay-at-home mom, or a mom in general has, is more, you can't even put a price tag on it. And the amount of jobs that we do, often people don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't quantify it.
Mhm.
So know your worth regardless of who you're standing by. So if your job doesn't look like your friend's job or her career, just understand, like, what you're doing is invaluable. And you can't do it by yourself. That's for sure. Even though a lot of times you do. And being a stay-at-home mom, it can feel lonely, even if you have a whole bunch of kids. But understand that you're not. And understanding, I don't know, what everybody else's faith is, but my faith is definitely in Jesus Christ. And so I understand that through him, I can do all things, right?
Mhm.
So when I don't spend time with him and I don't abide in him and allow him to abide in me, then I'm no good and I can't bear fruit. I can't be productive that day, right?
Mhm.
So I think those are the biggest tips I can give. And to let your kids, give them jobs to help you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is fantastic. Fantastic. And this is certainly one of those conversations that I think, they hear it from Miss Denise and I, but
Mhm.
I know some of the young homemakers, while they value what we're saying, but they're looking at this and say, well, you already did that a long time ago. But to come from you and a young homemaker,
Mhm.
that is invaluable because you're living the life that they're living, and
Mhm.
you're able to share with them the good, the bad, and maybe sometimes the ugly.
Yeah, ugly.
But you have gotten through, and you've made it through, and I am excited to see. And we kind of feel like we're the grandmothers of the twins.
Yes.
I remember when those twins were born, and
Woo!
it was so nice. And now I got to see one of the twins yesterday, right? When we
Mhm.
were talking. Yeah,
Anna.
yeah. And she's so cute. And so it's fun to see a family that is functioning.
Mhm.
One of the things that you talked about was the key word was teamwork.
Yes.
And so when you talk about that time system of marriage, teamwork is necessary. And I think particularly for our young homemakers, they need to know that, a marriage is about both of you,
Mhm.
and both of you throwing in together and making it work.
Mhm.
And you want to do it as pleasantly as possible. And so you have certainly been able to do that. I'm not saying that every day was flowers and roses, because I'm sure it wasn't.
Mhm.
And but the reality of it is that today we may have had a bump, but we're not going to go over that same bump tomorrow. We're going to
Right.
work it through. And so that's a part of that time system, time for each other. I like what you said when you said, the kids go to bed at a certain time so you can have a couple hours to yourself. And
Mhm.
that's what you need, even with your marriage
Mhm.
and your time system. You need time for each other to
Yes.
be able
Right.
to spend time with each other. And that's the advantage of putting the children to bed at a certain time. And just being able to work through the parenting together. Miss Denise, you got any more questions?
Well, I don't have any more questions, but I was just thinking she just dropped so many gems throughout this
Yes,
whole process. And one of the things that um, the important concepts is that life's not perfect,
that's right.
but we're working at it.
Mm-hmm.
We're working through it. And I like what you said too about getting up early before the family,
Mm-hmm.
because then you can have some time to yourself. You can make your tea or your coffee. You can get prepared for when the family does get up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important too. And I also thought everyone should hear when she said, "My husband and I have two different mental loads."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your mental load is right now is running the house and all those things involved with the kids, business outside the house. And sometimes, depending upon how stressful their job might be, they may or may not be willing or able to dive in and assist with some of the things you need right away.
Mm-hmm.
Need a little decompression time once they get home before they can move into doing some of the teamwork that we want. They might need to be able to just sit and relax for a minute, um, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was important. And the fact that you said self-care is not selfish. You have to have something to give. And if you don't give to yourself, you can't pour out of an empty cup, as you mentioned earlier. So
Mhm.
there's that. And I like how you said you use your faith to kind of help you as a whole plan to care for your family. I think that's
Mhm.
very, very good. And for those women that work outside the home, they're doing everything you're doing
Mhm.
when they come home from work.
Mhm.
So they have two jobs,
Mhm.
the job for home and the job for work. And it's equally hard in whatever sphere you find yourself, and you need to figure out a way to work through it.
Mhm.
So, and I like the fact that you've got several systems in place to help
Mhm.
you manage. So she really was an excellent guest to kind of mirror what some of our new conversation is going to be about when we start talking more and more about systems. Now,
Mhm.
Tina, do you think we're saying anything different when we talk about our systems? We're just putting a new label on it. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, Miss Denise, most of my and I had the opportunity to thank you guys before we got on, but a lot of the help and a lot of my pivot, so to speak, or my adaptation was from you guys. And so I really want to take the time to say that what you guys are doing and what you guys have taught, like, it has benefited so many people, and you're looking at one. And so a lot of the scheduling and the fly lady, like, I watched all of those. I mean, for COVID I was shut down, so I had no time. I had time, nothing but time. So I watched a lot, and I implemented a lot of the things, even the four corners,
Mhm.
the daily switch and swat. So I have a morning routine and I have afternoon routine. So a lot of the things I can't take credit for. A lot of the things, I mean, you ladies actually taught me. And then I adjusted some, of course. Wednesdays are usually my day off. It's my will not Wednesday. If my daughter wants me to
I
go,
like that.
I will not. If so, that is kind of so, and that's why I get to watch you guys on Wednesdays. That's kind of my reprieve day. Um,
Mhm.
but no, I soak up everything you guys have taught and are teaching.
Mhm.
Well,
So
thank you.
a lot of my
We
routine,
appreciate
I
it.
credit to you, because I didn't know. You don't some When you're in it, you don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
Mhm.
There's something, there has to be something better than this, when you're not just spinning your wheels. And so,
Hmm.
and I'm a list checker, so if you give me something that I can plug and play
Mhm.
for it, and so that helps with the chaos, and the kids kind of understand. Even if it's Tuesday, my son knows it's laundry, that's your day. Wednesday, Jordan, that's your day. And so, and it helps. They may not always want to be, you know willing participants, but it's on now. It's just automatic, And if we skip it because we have it, um, a rhythm, we can just jump right back into it. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Did I answer your question, Miss Denise?
That's
Yes, you did. You did. Thank you
good.
very much. And
Yes,
I
you did.
appreciate your kind words too, saying that Miss Leona and I
You
have
bet.
been instrumental in helping you figure some things out, because that's what we want to do, is help
Absolutely.
young homemakers figure it out.
Mhm.
That's true. And we've been able to see tonight that your purpose, you found your purpose,
Mhm.
and you found the value in what you were doing, and that enabled you to make that pivot.
Mhm.
Because you could see that things, of course, COVID didn't help,
Yeah.
but you certainly could have gone right back to work and gone right back into what you were doing. But you were able to see the value in spending the time with your children.
And
And, you have been very consistent in what you've done, and you're faithful in what you do. You develop systems and you do them daily, and you just have good stewardship. So that's a good thing. You were saying something?
I wanted to, for women that do decide to come home or are already home, I do still have my license, and so you can still, you don't have to give up everything.
Mm-hmm.
So if once my babies are gone and grown, the twins, and I
Mm-hmm.
decide to go back, I can. And
Mm-hmm.
I also told my husband, like, listen, you don't have to work yourself to death. You
Yeah.
know, if I need to put my scrubs back on, I can do that as well. And so we can be, you
Mhm.
know, and do what is needed for our family. And so I just
Mhm.
want them to know that. I didn't give up everything. I worked too hard for that
Mhm.
license. So
I get it. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I put it on the shelf, but if I need it, I can take it back down.
Mm.
that's good.
For
That's
that.
good.
Yeah.
And I think too, we want to make sure that everyone recognizes the value
Mm-hmm.
in your husband recognizing your value and
Mm-hmm.
being in the home and handling the home and the children. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you weren't there, the amount you'd have to spend to get someone to do all the things you do is completely different. And sometimes we as women are hardest on ourselves or other women. We don't support their journey.
That's
We might be like, oh, she need to get a job,
mm-hmm.
or I don't know why she's not working or whatever. But and we can do that to ourselves, to our own, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the best thing. But if your situation is where you have the luxury, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
luxury,
It is.
being able to stay at home with your family and do the things you need to do to manage your family and support your husband and your family,
Mm-hmm.
girl, more power to you. And good on you that you can do that. Because there's others that would like to be able to do that, but
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, whatever life circumstances, cannot.
And I do it. That's true. And that is so true. And you got your meals, you got a plan,
Mhm.
you got your kids are fed, they are definitely happy. You've been able to still continue with their activities. Um, you've got a life, and you've got a beautiful life,
Mhm.
and it's fun to see. It's fun for us to be able to look at, and kind of gives little glimpses of where we were at another
Girl,
time.
yes.
And even though I have to say I was working and trying to get all that done, but I sometimes, if we talk about having regrets, my regret was that at a certain point I could have come home,
Mhm.
and I opted not to because I was enjoying what I was doing, so I didn't. But now that we've gotten past it, the kids are still happy, and I can see a lot of what I did in
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
And so that's going to be the reward in the end, to be able to see them being successful and doing the things that need to get done. Um, we are at a point, we have been going quite a while.
Oh, yes,
And I
we
know
have.
those of you who are in the chat, most of the time we're chit chatting back and forth with you all. And I have to say that I'm so excited that you're here. I'm going to take a moment, if you don't mind, Miss Denise, I'm going to take a moment just to kind of give a shout out. I see that we've got a birthday girl that
Oh, yeah.
turning 70. Yay!
And glad you're doing better.
Yes, yes, yes. And everyone's saying hello to Tam. And so we and see, they've gotten used to hearing us say Tam. So that's,
Yeah.
everybody's saying Tam. But we are glad, certainly, that all of you are here. And um, Bonjour, Mama is saying, love hearing wisdom from a woman who has lived this life. And that is just wonderful and certainly encouraging.
Mhm.
And Doris is saying she's so excited and happy that she caught the live tonight. Um, Debbie Shelley, Debbie Shoji, I'm not sure, but Debbie anyway. She says she just loves us both in hearing the wisdom, and keep it simple pleasure, Sue. She's saying that sleep is so important for everyone, and that is so
Mhm.
true. Our children need to sleep. It just, it's a part of their growing.
Yes.
And pray your way through, says TJ. It sounds like you're managing well. And Debbie's Kitchen says she loves her grocery delivery service. She says she's on Walmart Plus. I am too. And she has Instacart as well. And she said she's disabled, but she said it really is very, very helpful for her. And that is wonderful, because I think a lot of people hesitate a little bit with having groceries delivered, but it's a great way to be able to save yourself time. Now Michelle's here with us. Hey Michelle,
Hey, Michelle.
she said she took 6 to the store with her. She said it seems odd going with only 3 now. She said she's a fan of theme meal days, and she said she always cooks enough for leftovers for lunch.
Mhm.
And she said theme days help to keep track of when something was cooked. And that's certainly a good way as well. I'm kind of a visual person, so I almost always have a calendar running. And Pray Your Way Through said that she also loves ordering online, and it really does save her time. Now, I did post for you guys the app that TJ shared with us, Plan to Eat, and I'm certainly going to take a look at that app too to see if it's something I might want to incorporate. Even we're always learning. We're learning something new from the young folks.
Mhm.
So Ronnie said she has so much respect for moms that she's seen at the grocery store with their littles. Absolutely. I saw a little bunch today, and bless her heart, trying to get all those little babies out that door. I went, ooh, Lord have mercy. I remember those days. Cynthia says she took her son and niece and nephew to the store, 3 kids under 3. She said actually it went well, and she was so happy buckling them into their car seats without a problem. She said she forgot to go to the pickup lane and then had to go back. That is too funny. That's too funny. But guys, we all have those moments. You get so focused. Um, Debbie also said, I think this is the one, that a stay at home mom's job is one of, and she continues it here, one of the most important, because you're raising the future. And you're absolutely right. And I love the fact that you're raising them, you're showing them a Christian way, and certainly instilling that spirit into them, even young. Heather said she thanks you, TJ, for sharing your story. Um, she said this live was a blessing to her. Uh, still,
Iris.
still Eileen, still.
I
I'm
think still Iris.
Oh, okay. She said hello, hello, and she said she joined late, but she's excited to watch the replay later. And I hope you will. And those
Mhm.
of you who are coming to, who will be coming to the replay, it is a valuable. This has been a very valuable show. Now, before we leave, and of course, my girls who are here, they have already seen, and some of you might have seen. I have a winter entertainment guide that has been uploaded to Etsy and is ready for you. And in fact, let me just share with you this Saturday, when I do my regular Saturday upload, I'm going to be using the guide and taking you through the week. So you'll be able to see that in action. But it's a nice way. I wanted you to have a workbook, something that you didn't have to draw out, you didn't have to put out, you didn't have to, do all these little extras, but it has everything you need for your special holidays, even as special as a family dinner or a birthday. It could be, of course, it could be a holiday, whatever it might be, but it gives you a place for that, to be able to do the planning, because you've learned through our systems and our pillars that time is valuable, and
Mhm.
that when you plan, you're saving time and you're saving money, and you're also making sure that you're not wasting anything. So
Mhm.
I am certainly excited to be able to share this with you. One thing I will say, and I did say this toward the end of this past video, is that as you look through it, as you work through it, if you find that this might be helpful also to have in the next volume, then let me know, because it won't be the last one. I'm working on the next, um, as I would say, workbook for all of us to be able to get through the seasons. And so I'm excited to be able to offer that to you. Um, Miss Denise, this has been such a
Oh,
great
yes.
night, a great night.
I'm
And
so glad that you brought TJ on as our first mom guest. So it was really nice to have her here with us to really kind of talk about our pillars and how she's living through each one of them.
Mhm. It is. It's nice. So I can just say to those of you in the audience, if tonight has encouraged you, certainly please make sure that you like, that you share this video with someone else. If you know of someone who's young or even not so young who may need the message, because there were certainly a lot of messages, positive messages that were given tonight. And please, if you have not subscribed to Miss Denise's channel, Homemaking with Denise, or my channel, Ebony, Ivy, and Time, please do so. And so that this particular message can certainly reach other homemakers. So as we close tonight, we want to be able to come back to the heart of what we do here as the modern home economist. So, Miss Denise, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. I'm like, what?
Keep following.
All right, let me see. Well, one of the things that I want us to think about for our young homemakers is that as they try to navigate this journey, you're not behind. You're right where you need to be, and you're learning and you're beginning to figure it out one step at a time.
That is so true.
Progress,
Yes,
not perfection.
that's right. That's right. And just keep in mind and just kind of keep it in the back of your mind that these are systems. You've got your food system, which is really important. Time is a system that is so valuable that we just, sometimes we take for granted. Our home systems are
Yes.
important. And of course, it's all about the Benjamin. The money system is important. And when these systems overlap, they're not by themselves, they
No.
all overlap. And so, you as a homemaker, as the modern home economist, you're managing all of these and working all of these systems. And so, we encourage you to understand that, if you have questions, then ask your questions. And if there's someone close that you can chit chat with, and sometimes just observe how someone else is navigating, if it looks positive. And you don't want to be strained or stressed.
Right.
And so you want to be able to strengthen your family and strengthen yourself. Miss Denise, this is.
Small,
Mhm.
thoughtful changes compound over time. So, like TJ said, as she began to make some changes and she began to pivot and begin to incorporate different little uh, routines or skill sets, life began to get a bit easier in some areas of home. So you're not going to get everything necessarily all figured out at once in every aspect, but
Mhm.
every little bit helps. Every time you level up in one area, it helps you level up in another one.
That's true. And as we're going into our holiday systems, and some of us are already in those systems, keep in mind that what the real reason for the season is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about perfection. It's not about the gifts. It's not about Santa. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about any of that. It is about your family. And most of all, it's about Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to be able to bless your family each day and do it one meal at a time, one little swish and swipe at a time,
Yeah.
one load of laundry at a time. And so as you do that each day, you're making progress.
Mm-hmm.
So never think that you're out there by yourself. You're not behind.
Mm-hmm.
You're learning how your home works, and knowledge is power.
It's power.
So this is a great week, and this has been a great show
It
for
is.
the modern home economist.
Yes.
And we want to build those homes that are calm, that are capable, and sustainable in today's modern world. And sometimes that's not easy,
No, it's not.
but you can do it.
Time you can
You
do it.
can do it. So, to all of you, a very Merry Christmas, because Miss Denise and I are going to take a little break. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to celebrate with our families next week and New Year's, and we will be back with you on Wednesday, the 7th, January the 7th. That will be our first week back. And we've got some fun things planned for the 7th. In fact, January is going to be slamming, as the kids would say. And so we are going to, we're making plans for January. So we love you all, and we pray that you are all safe and sound. And we'll see you soon in January. So you stay right there, and God bless all of you.
Good night.
Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Yes.